Okay, this video is for Raleigh, and this is Bob Pelican speaking, and this is the 31 Buick that you just bought, and I wanted to walk around it and show you some of the little idiosyncrasies that you might not discover all by yourself. So first of all, the Pelican hood ornament, if you don't want that, I'm sending along the stock hood ornament, and if you don't want this, I'd like to have it back. If you do want it, that's fine, you can keep it. I did adjust the hood. You can see that the sides come down pretty well on that side, and almost as well on that side. The only way that's going to come down all the way is if you put the original clamps, which I didn't find until just a short time ago, that actually, instead of being spring-loaded, they clamp it down a little tighter, because that will come down if it's pulled. So if that bothers you, that's the solution to that problem. Let me show you how the hood prop works. I'm going to hand the phone to my assistant, Geraldine. So right here, this pulls out, goes up like that, and then rests in that position. So that's how that works. This little oil can came with the car, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of have it there, although it has nothing in it and has absolutely no function. The oil fill is on this side, the dipstick is on the other side, which is probably my mistake. I should have put the valve cover that has the fill on the other side, but that could be changed if it bothers you. It does use a little oil. It has since it was new, so I would check the oil every couple of tank fills just to make sure that you don't run out of oil. Okay, so let's move around. These directionals, or these running lights are the directionals as well as running lights. Oh, back to the front for a sec. The trip lights are there, but they're not functional. I haven't ever wired them in, although I do have a switch for them. And these horns don't work, but the real horns are underneath, so it's just basically for decoration. And moving along to the inside, all of these gauges in the original cluster work except for the gas gauge, which is it used a tube that went back to the gas tank with the original gas tank, and so that's just some liquid in there to make it look like it's functional. But you've got a water temperature, oil pressure, the odometer and speedometer work, and then an amp meter. This switch doesn't work. These aren't hooked up. This lever here, which says heat, actually I use it to hide that air conditioning vent if you want to do that, just because it was there. Then this switch and all that is not functional, but all of the functional gauges are up here. You've got your voltmeter, your tachometer, fuel gauge, and clock, and then there's three switches. I think the bottom one is the wiper. Let me turn it on here. Yeah, that's the wiper. The top one is the fan, and the middle one is for the trip lights, and it's wired up to the lights, but it's just not hooked to them. The fan is automatic, but if you want to override the fan, you can also have it there. And then horn button. This is the cruise control. I wired this upside down, this part of the switch upside down, so to set the cruise control where it says set and clear, or whatever the C stands for, it's actually the top. So just make sure you push the on button and then push the top button when you're at the speed you want to go, and that sets it. And that's also the decelerate button. The bottom is the accelerate button. Every time you push it, it accelerates one mile per hour. And of course the ignition switch and starter are there. And the light switch, obviously, and then the radio and the heater control. I'm sorry I lost this knob, but I'm sure that Vintage Air could get you another one. The AC works well, and that's about it for that part of it. The emergency brake, and there's a speaker underneath here for the stereo, and I think there's a speaker in that panel over there. There's some sort of a vibration in the gear shift or the brake lever that at certain speeds you hear the thing rattling, and I can't figure out what it is. I don't know if it's this mechanism that releases the shifter or not. I'll come around the other side. Oh, here's a button that turns the courtesy lights on and off. You can see those coming on and off right there. To release the trunk, there's a little button right, see if we can see it, right there. So you push that and it releases the trunk. And I've got some extra parts and stuff in the trunk for you. In this envelope is the memory stick that has all of the construction photographs in it. And then inside here is a remote control for the radio and the wiper and a Allen wrench to install the wiper if you get someplace where you need it. And the side panels for the trunk are just laying in there because they take up a lot of room. So if you have a lot of things to put in the trunk, I just leave them off. It looks okay without them. There's a safety wire in case that solenoid doesn't work underneath the fender. I don't want to crawl underneath there to show it where it is, but there's a wire that you pull to release the trunk if the solenoid stops working for any reason. To get the seat forward, there's a lever down here that you pull, and then the seat slides forward. It's a little uphill the way I've got it parked. And then there's a release on the back of the seat right there to make the seat tip forward. And usually I let the passengers in and out from the back, from the driver's side. And what else? Back windows work. I don't use the shades because they don't retract really well. There's really too much material on them for them to work right. I keep a can of starter fluid because if you don't drive it for a while, 2-3 weeks or longer, it likes to get a little squirt of starter fluid, and I just squirt the outside of the air cleaner on the driver's side and give it a couple seconds, and then it'll crank right up. The directionals are not self-canceling. It's just an aftermarket directional thing, and they work whether or not the key is turned on, so you'll often forget to cancel them and look back when you're leaving the car, and you'll see that the directionals are on. That's about all the weird stuff about it, and all the regular stuff. I can't think of anything else that I haven't told you. So anyway, enjoy it. It's a great old car, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun driving it, and I'm going to miss it, that's for darn sure. So let me know if you have any questions.